SEO This Week. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of SEO This Week as we crack open a monster. Let's get into it.
Did you know a press release alone isn't enough? Visibility is key. You need a multi-platform strategy to share your story across news, audio, video, and social media. Welcome to Magic PR, where your press release transforms into a powerful media experience, maximizing exposure and engagement. We distribute your release to top outlets like Yahoo Finance, Bloomberg, Business Insider, and more. Plus, your release is SEO optimized, ensuring better search rankings. But we don't stop there. We turn your press release into a podcast, distributing it across 25 platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and SoundCloud. Then, we create a social media content for Facebook, X, and Instagram, and even transform your story into a video press release for YouTube and top media sites. Video drives over 80% of higher engagement, and short-form content is king. We make viral videos for your YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and more. At Magic PR, we don't just publish, we amplify. Get your press release seen, heard, and shared everywhere. Visit magicpr.com today and take your brand to the next level. Back to you, Clint.
All right. SEO Spring Training is over and in the books. It's SEO Spring Training Digital Marketing Conference 2025. It was actually pretty good. I had a good time there. I got to see a few people I haven't seen in quite some time, and took my dog, so I didn't get a lot of drinking and all that of stuff and I actually lost 4 pounds during the conference. So I don't know. Maybe it's a sign. Take dogs, 2 conferences, lose weight. Sounds like a goal. So with that, let's get into these news stories. First is search engine world. Half of the web opted out of Google AI training. So basically what the crux of this story is that Google launched or provided everyone with Google Extended, so that you put that in your robots.txt if you didn't want Google to read your site and use it for the training of Gemini and what's the other thing? DeepMind. Excuse me, let me drink this. What they didn't bother to tell everyone is that it is not, it's still, your website is still inside of and eligible for AI overviews, meaning that Googlebot is crawling for AI overviews, and then Google Extended is crawling for Gemini and DeepMind. So the implication there is 2 different models. And what they ended up having to do, according to information reviewed inside of this, the court documents, was that Google actually had to delete 50% of the stuff that they had scraped for the purposes of teaching AI overviews, and because the publishers had opted out using Google Extended. So it's to me you wonder what the hell is going on over there in regards to teaching their AI, very much of anything, because the Googlebot, which crawls everything relentlessly, is pulling the data for the AI overviews, while the Google Extended bot, which in my guess or estimation is probably trained in a much different way, is training for Gemini and DeepMind. So Gemini and DeepMind are actually getting the good content, and that's why their output is so much better. And then AI overviews is, frankly, it's getting exposed to everything, trash included, and that's why their output sucks so bad. So definitely there's something that needs to be fixed there. And that's why if you have Google Extended and you're showing up in the AI overviews, that's what's happening. Now, if you want to be out of the AI overviews entirely and you don't want to help teach that, the only way to do that is to block Googlebot entirely. And it means you're essentially blocking Google and walking away from their traffic opportunities. So I would say if you have a website that's doing well, like in referral traffic from, social media, direct traffic, it's doing well in other search engines, and it just blows in Google, you're not missing out on anything. Go ahead and block it if you don't want your content copied. Something to try. There's always Bing, as they say, right? This next article is 65 ways to use website auditor. If you're not a user of SEO Power Suite tools, I recommend that you do. Mainly the website auditor and the rank tracker are probably the two best. While their link building, it's called SEO Spyglass, is actually doing pretty decent too. It's getting a really decent database of backlinks. I don't know how much it would compare in result in regards to size for when you compare it to SEMrush, Majestic, and Ahrefs, because those have obviously been around a long time. But the Spyglass software is actually pretty good. Anyway, we're talking about Website Auditor here, and you can crawl it. Like if you're using Screaming Frog or Sitebulb like I do, Website Auditor is actually really good if you're doing just little tiny local sites, 10 pagers. And it's fast and it's kind of quick and to the point. There's nothing tricky. There's nothing super technical inside of there. There are some technical things that it looks at, but it's in general a good thing where you can go page by page, print out a report for your clients. Let's say you sold 4 pages optimized a month. You can do this on a page by page basis and print all that information out. You can look at site crawling, or you can do site crawling and auditing. You get response codes, look for redirects, look at the linking, do broken linking, analyze the content, analyze all the metas, etc. And also tie it in with your analytics and your search console, and you can build pretty decent reports in it as well. So if you've ever wondered, should I get a Website Auditor, this is a good walk around post to just see what is available to you in the tool. And there is a sale coming up. So sign up, and hopefully, I think it's the middle week, next week. If my dates are correct, let's see. Yeah, next week that the sale's coming. So you have some time. Oh, geez, pushed the wrong button. Search engine journal. Google shares insight about time-based search operators. I only was sharing this because I didn't even know they had time-based operators. So that's awesome. And they're in beta. So before and after, they have in there, you can search by dates, etc. Right? Or the last 24 hours, the last 7 days, the last week. But in this case, you can actually pick a specific day. You have to use year, month, day formats though when you do it. So Avengers Endgame before. So you're going to get results about Avengers Endgame before 2009. And then you can do specific months. And you can do time periods using that as well. I think that's actually pretty interesting, especially if you're doing some trending, or you're looking at trending topics from the past that kind of rotated in and out of popularity, or you're doing some research or whatever. Before and after is actually pretty handy. So check out that. Performance Max channel, there's an update into it, and essentially for local people, you get some better reporting in regards to it, and supposedly a little bit more insight into what your campaigns are showing. I'm not a master of PPC, so I think this is good because I know a lot of people are kind of afraid of Performance Max because you just kind of push a button and let it go, right? And I've never been a fan of Jesus take the wheel ad campaign setups. But if there's a little bit more visibility and you can see the channel where the traffic's coming from, the asset that is landing on the search terms that you're triggering in a much better way with Performance Max reporting now, then I think that's a good thing. And it's more transparent for users. So if you're into PPC, check it out. Let me know what you think. Semiotics. I had to do this. Like, what the heck is semiotics? And it's the study of signs and symbols and their usage or interpretation to include words. And that's semiotics. And this post talks about how the search engines are using it. What I really like in here is not only did they go over it, but they go over some triggers and some examples that you can do. Like, here's brand presence associations and signs, and there's some things that you can examples of how to accomplish that, and then some strategic levers. And this entire post goes along with that, and you get some great topic ideas like this. And not necessarily that, but you do get some great topic ideas in here as you go through this page. People also ask how to use those, how to look at them better and get better, more informed. People also ask questions for versus I'm going to find all of the ones for my niche and write all articles on all of those. You can do more specifically targeted PAAs and even, some ideas like this is all about painting, and you transition into painting of Star Wars versus just the broad Star Wars kind of stuff, right? Image tags and how to implement them, etc. And I think this is really, really interesting and also very, very helpful. So I actually am going to print this out, put it on a piece of paper so I can see it and refer to it. And then I'm probably going to take this and work with our prompt generating tool and make a prompt that kind of addresses semiotics and see if I get a better quality piece of content out of it, even maybe a more engaging piece of content. So this is a really cool post, and challenge you to try it out. Google versus Chat GBT, the state of the search engines. This isn't really a long thing, right? That's it. It's pretty much the argument. So as you see, over last year, Google's got a 64% increase in context in regards to search, but it is less likely to send visitors to you versus the Chat GBT, this is kind of a misnomer because it wasn't started measured until October 2024. But you can look at these numbers and see that, Chat GBT has a significant amount of people going from Chat GBT to websites, which is actually, if you do the math, it's like 2 visitors a website or some craziness. Was there like 2 trillion websites and then only 57 million people going to websites? So if you do the math, it's like less than 1 per website or some craziness like that. So nothing to get too excited about yet, but being said, I mean, you can understand that AI has the potential to be a good search engine in the future. Maybe not right now. So get pre-positioned for it now. Don't spend all of your time. Oh, I gotta be an AI. I gotta be an AI. I gotta be an AI. Yes, honestly right now it's a shiny object thing, and until they work out, how they're going to deploy the web and how you're going to get access to it, understand that you're not going to get a whole lot of traffic from it. But the traffic that you do get is going to convert very high because those people have already started the research process. And if they're researching for a purchase, they're going to get I would estimate probably 90% of their research done inside of ChatGPT. And when they're ready to make a transaction or they're looking commercially and they're going to fine tune on a products or services or topics or information, they will go to your website and they'll be much higher likely to convert than Google, which is really good because the organic conversion rates in Google are really high. They're higher than PPC. So the organic, I would expect the ChatGPT or the AI traffic is going to convert even higher than Google. So less is actually potentially could be more. So that's a really cool thing. Where are we at? The indexing rule. As highlighted before, essentially what the Google indexing rule is that if Google hasn't crawled your page in 130 days or more than likely that it's de-indexed. This study or this test verified that based off of the analysis. And what they found was if you haven't been crawled more than 130 days or more, 90% of the time or 99% of the time, your page is not going to be indexed. There are those 1% instances where that's not the case. But if you're crawled and not indexed and you haven't been crawled in 130 days, resubmit them suckers or review them and update them and improve them and get Google about crawling back again. Also, I would also suggest look at your internal linking and make sure that the internal linking is in place to those pages. These may be pages that have low internal links, and the bot's not encouraged to get to those pages as often, and you can solve that with internal linking. Untapped backlink sources. I like backlinks, and I cannot lie, right? And there's a couple interesting articles in here, some stuff that I haven't seen in a while. So, yeah, the link Lazarus method, and then there's HCU recovery. Both those articles were interesting, but the topic here is this 17 untapped backlink sources and newsletter directories. This one I never even heard of before. JavaScript packages on this site, and you have Chat GPT now. You can solve little mini problems with Java. Go into CodePen, look at the JavaScript section and find some cool stuff, and then duplicate it with Chat GPT and put it on here and build some backlinks in the publisher system. Sounds cool. Audio sharing, mainly if you're doing podcasts, you can leverage those. I think podcasts is also listed down here, but here's some more audio sharing sites if you're not using those. More AI and developer things. Again, you have Claude and ChatGPT, and you want to make a little kind of mini thing, right? Go ahead and hit that up. There is an API directory. I don't know what you would like. Would most people have use for that? It depends on the tools, right? And the API stuff. Maybe if you're doing, I don't know, you'd have to look at it honestly, but if you have a SaaS and you have an API key, then this is a good opportunity. Let's put it that way. Specialized Stack Overflow, Server Fault, those are really good, especially if you're doing developer stuff. So go into those and answer questions. Use ChatGPT to do it. Get ChatGPT to talk like a teenager or a developer who sleeps on his mom's couch, and it'll add some natural flow to the words and won't sound so much like AI, and kind of help people out that way and become the expert. I mean, if some of those clowns can go into the Google Help Center documentation, become 5-star diamond GMB people, then why can't you go be a 5-star diamond developer in Stack Exchange? Slide decks and presentations. This is actually really cool, especially with the AI tools out there to turn articles into slide decks. Go get your article short formed into a slide deck, drop it into these, and then turn it into a PDF and turn it into those, and then turn it into a podcast and drop it into these and that audio list that we showed up top. And here's you can do some more document sharing, and then you can create videos for it as well. Just throw those up on YouTube or little shorts and throw them up on YouTube, Instagram, X, and TikTok. Multipurposing your content. Create WordPress plugins. This is something that I'm looking into. There's it's called Lovable, I think is the software that supposedly you can do this a lot better because it actually talks to the pieces. You have multiple files when you're creating a WordPress program, for example. And so if you can build like little quick, I have problem X and I want to solve this little mini problem X, and then you load it up and then put it in the plugin directory for people and just kind of promote it small, short, or however, and build links to it. I would probably recommend maybe even, I was going to say PRs, but maybe not so much PRs. You can go here to these Stack Overflow or whatever and see if there's problems that you could solve with possibly your WordPress plugins and promote them in Stack Overflow. That's an option. Here's the code to fix that problem. If you're using WordPress, I created a quick little WordPress plugin that you can solve it with. Should be, that's pretty easy. Web3 and decentralized directories, not going to lie, I don't really know too much about this. And especially in regards to you using them for creating for creating links. So you have to really check those out. I'm not in the crypto communities and stuff, so I'm not exposed much to these kind of things. So if you are, though, check it out. GitHub, Git Pages, GitLab, Gitbucket, Hugging Face. You can create profiles over there and build entire complete websites if you want to on those things. And there's a bunch of them that are hooked to Git, so you can publish in Git and then publish them on a bunch of those other websites all at the same time. Push and pull. So check that out if you have a little bit of extra time. Browser extension stores, especially making the Chrome browsers, because Chrome is now, it's what, Chrome and Edge are the two primary. Opera, Brave, those are all based off Chromium, and they use Chrome extensions. I use Ghost browser. It's a Chromium based, and the extensions are used for that. So you can fire those up again, solve little problems, put a link in there. Not necessarily is going to be considered a backlink, but you could probably do that in your backlinks or in the Chrome extension when you're uploading it in the description page. You could drop it there. You could drop it in the extension, provided to you for free by whoever, and you'll generate some traffic out of your Chrome extension in the browser specifically, and then you'll have this one cool backlink out of the Chrome store. The more you do that, the better you do. I would be careful though, especially if you like the accounts. Don't go in there and be retarded and come up with a whole bunch of different things that are just regurgitated crap. You may run into that. I don't fall for create a Chrome extension and put your affiliate link in there. That's not going to work. You're going to get a backlink, sure, but you're not going to sell any products. There's no damn way. You got to have a useful Chrome extension and get people engaging with it more, so they pop it up and they see this and see your thing and see created by detailed, and that's a link. See this enough and like, oh, what's he up to? Go check it out. That's kind of how you want to do that and be responsible. Link roundups and resource pages. I know a couple guys in the rehab market that are living and dying by these things. They create really good resource pages on their website. Let's say like how or resources for Black teens dealing with addiction. It's very niche down topic, and it provides resources that are primarily targeting Black teens, right? And then what they do is they go to all these other rehab sites that are have content or lists or resource pages, specifically resource pages, or you can go to schools or whatever and ask to get here's my guide for Black teens that are dealing with addiction and resources to help them. Would you mind adding it to your resource page? That's it. That's the outreach. And I know guys, I know a couple of guys that are ranking really, really well in the rehab space doing those, but they're actually creating helpful content too. So you can't go to Chat GBT and pop out a resource page for X, Y, and Z and just think it's going to fly. You got to, do good. You got to put some effort into it. I mean, that's like 2 weeks creating the content, a week editing and creating all the any supporting content, images, infographics, etc., and putting that all together, and then a week of promoting it for that. So you're creating one good piece of content a month in order to generate links throughout the quarter, because you're going to promote that one piece of content over and over and over again. And that one piece of content is going to link out to your cornerstone pages or your primary content pillars. And that's how that process works. Scholarship EDU pages, not new. Google kind of bitch slapped a lot of the power behind this. Yes, EDUs and good EDUs are very good backlinks, but there's a lot of people that are just creating fake scholarships. And so not only are the publishers weary these days, but Google is as well. So they kind of figured out who was just posting everybody and who was not, because at one point EDUs were actually getting really easy, especially EDU subdomains were getting really easy to obtain. And people were creating these lists over and over again and just making trash. So a lot harder to pull off. Don't be a dick. If you're going to do this, actually create a scholarship. It's tax deduction anyway. So $1,000 scholarship to help, I don't know, an HVAC school. So you go to a bunch of schools that teach HVAC and you say, hey, we're offering this scholarship. All we ask in exchange is if you would put a backlink on your site to link to the description so that your students can apply. And we have $1,000 for X amount of students or whatever, however you want to play that, but be legit. And then you have some edu and .gov pages. These are not very easy. Take a whole lot of work, and you're essentially like NIH and USGov and data.gov and do.gov. It sounds exciting, like, oh, I can get on those. More than likely not. It's got to be really, really good. But if you're doing something with one of those departments, it doesn't hurt to just ask and get see if you can get a little bit of recognition out of that, one way or another. Yeah, so just this is this is probably the last one that I would even try. Broken link reclamation, fix it on your site. You can find broken links across the web to your site. You can do some broken links across websites. This is really a numbers game. You can send it out. More than likely, what's going to happen is people are just going to go, oh, and ignore you and go fix the broken link and send it to wherever they want to. But, if you send out 100 emails and you get 10 links out of it, it's still a pretty good ROI considering the average link these days is going for what? Between $100 and $200. So if you got 10 free links, you save yourself $1,000. So that's a pretty good list. I like this list. If you find any more lists like this, let me know. Send them to me, and we can start set up a testing system to try some of these methods out, or at least verify them for you. Bing indexing, Bing de-indexing. This is a long, drawn out story. In short, they had a code that was from Fathom Analytics, and it was in the wrong place. It was after their opening body tag, inside the body tag, and so they had to remove it. And when they removed it, the indexing came back. That is how finicky Bing is. Their support was not helpful whatsoever. The actual automation in there said it was a content didn't meet the quality, but at the end of the day, it was a code issue. So I'm going to look in here. I'm going to look at this tool. Let's go Google that. There's our tool, and then we'll drop a website in here. Let's drop this tool that we're looking at later in there. And go through here and kind of figure this out. Try to fix these. There's a lot of error things, and that's just how to I think errors, honestly, in this guideline is really subjective. Like flex is not a value. It happens to be it is a value. There's flex, expand and grow the web pages. It's kind of a mobile responsive thing. So a lot of these are subjective, but you really want to just look at some things that are just crazy out of nowhere. There is a feature inside of Website Auditor that looks at this a little bit, and there's also one in SiteBulb, if I'm not mistaken. You can go through those. Just, I would address the warnings, make sure that they're right. The infos you can pretty much ignore, and then the errors stuff, look at it. What is it? Does it make sense? Am I supposed to have a duplicate ID? So here's ID that's blank, and then I don't see another one. So is it necessarily an ID? It's probably because, there's just nothing there. It's saying that the ID, and it's assuming the ID is those things. The quotation marks. So, look at this stuff and fix what you can fix. A lot of this stuff really, especially if you're not a WordPress platform, there's nothing you can do about it. But that if you're running into a big indexing issue, look at your code first before you start looking at the rules of their quality content. If you don't know what I'm talking about, let me see if I can find it. Here it is. Quality content needs attention, and then it's there. More than likely, it's probably something with reading it. In this case, it's a SVG. So the implication is that maybe that image, that SVG, is not rendering properly, and you can go replace it with a JPEG or a WebP image. Just as something to consider. Ooh, more backlinks. How many backlinks do you need to rank? So in short, the short version of this is go look at your competition, see how many backlinks they got, use a measurement that you like to use, trust flow, DR, DA, whatever you want, and compare what they have versus what you have. You can look at referring domains. It's primarily what I would look at, referring domains, because that'll give you an indication of how strong the backlink profile actually is because of the domain authority or DR or trust flow of the entire domain. And then you can look at how many backlinks that you probably would want to start off with. So in general, I just kind of stick with the median, was typically 25 to 50 backlinks for everything that I post. And I get those either through, just some tools. I'm not trying to pop in PBNs. I'm not trying to go spend $200 for 50 backlinks. Just want to use some tools, create some backlinks and get that number up. And then after that, you let that sit for a while and see where it is at that point. And then you can go with your more expensive or you're harder to get or you're more manual to create backlinks. So read this out. If haven't done any backlink analysis, you can check that out. I would kind of stay away from backlink gap. You're chasing hopes and dreams really at that point. You can look and see if there's some easy to get ones, directories and that kind of thing. But for the most part, all you really want to look for is referring domains and quality. Like if the average DA of your competition is 45, then that's kind of where you need to be for yours, right? But here's some recommendations based off your number of referring domains. They are not hard set numbers. It's just somewhere where to go. It could take less. It could take more. Preferably in this market, hopefully less is what you're looking for. So if you have some better resources and a really good budget, you can go way less. How to write great content for search that delivers. The thing I liked out of this was this structure here, the 4 E's: educate, engage, entertain, and empower. You can, if you're using AI to create the initial drafts, you can actually create prompts around that, the 4 E's, and tell it that this is kind of what you're trying to do with your content. And then here's some, it's really at the end of the day, it's all subjective, but here's the 4 E's again, and kind of a better understanding of what they are. I would take this and throw it into one of the AIs and see about creating a prompt that could do that. I might do it and hook you guys up, but if I did, I'll drop it into my Discord. And generally, that if I put it in the Discord, especially in the prompts, I don't announce them. If you see them, great, and use them. If you don't, then that's on you. This is persona map. This is a really good example of creating one of these. There are prompts out there floating around where you can create these personas based on some of this information. But if you do have a team, you can create like a few personas and go on, or you can just use Chat GBT to do it. I got an idea at SEO Spring Training to use Python to create Google accounts or accounts anywhere. For example, like let's say Reddit. Use Python to use a catch-all Gmail and create 1,000 Reddit accounts, and then every time I post, it will run again And then what it'll do is it'll use those 1,000 accounts that I made and go comment and engage with each other and like the thread and etc. And build the thread out. And then when I'm done, I can leave it alone and let natural conversation kick in that process. And theoretically, you could do that on pretty much any membership platform. So that was, I don't know how I got into that, but you can, look at this post and get some decent ideas and kind of how to leverage this stuff. Persona maps. That's how I got into that. So use that same AI to create personas. You got image AI to create the avatars, and then you use something like a fake name generator, etc. And you can create this persona map with the key point starting in fake name generators. And I got that idea from Dan Kurtz. That guy's stupid, scary, the stuff that he thinks. Will it work? Who knows? But I mean, it's an idea. And then the readability. Let's see. Step 4 is readability. I'd say skip it. All the testing says the readability scores don't really matter all that much, and Google can't read anyway. So, but if you're looking for conversions, most of everything is written at an 8th grade level. So if you want to, you can teach your prompt that's building off of this methodology to write at the 8th grade level, and you'll be all right, I think. SEOs replaced, or Google's testing replacing the local map with AI overviews. I think it's stupid. They're essentially eliminating one of their monetization avenues because you can buy ad maps. They have the local service ads, but there's also the ads inside of the local map app, and eliminating that doesn't make sense. And honestly, this is kind of just looking at this. It's a regurgitation of what is. They just removed a listing out of organic and put it up here. That's all I did, and they got rid of actual local things. So, to me, I don't see how that helps user. Again, I don't like directories in local, but it is what it is. If you're gonna, why use a search engine to send them to other search engines to answer their question? Because small businesses are primarily the people that pay for the ads, right? The other side of that could be, there's this is the only thing, and now you got to pay some more to get up here. And when we got rid of the ad block, the maps thing, potentially a reason. I couldn't trigger this test in a bunch of searches, so if you see it, let me know. Ultimate website planning template. This is actually pretty good. I don't know, I won't go so far as to say it's ultimate, but there's a lot of things that, you may or may not be thinking about when you're doing this, especially if you're not the developer type and you're just doing design and you're not looking at function and layout and what pages you need and all that madness. This is a good, quick piece of kit to have in your tool bag just to kind of keep you going and make you think. Especially, we'll scroll down here, mapping these out. I like doing this. I do it in Lucidchart. I even do it to clients that have existing pages and build out a Lucidchart to see what the visualization of their website is. And the beauty of that is you make those public and you can put links to all those pages, and now you have a backlink point. So now you have a backlink for all your pages, and that's really cool too. So check this out. I like this landing page thing. I've seen some better ones, but this is really cool. And then, just kind of some ideas and how to deploy it, and then creating your content. This is a really good subject listening, of where you should be using your heading tags, for example, and where you shouldn't be. This could be done a lot better, in my opinion, just to make sure that developers don't put logos in H1s, that kind of stuff. But for the most part, this is actually really cool. This is another one of those things you maybe want to print out or, copy it and put it into an SOP thing where, if you're going to take on a new developer, you go, here's essentially the starting point, and this is kind of the things that I want you to do or to think about, to have ready when before you engage with the web designer. Because if the web designer knows the structure of the website, they can, and the keywords and et cetera, they can do a lot better when they're picking colors and design elements and all that stuff and call to actions. They can do a much better job of creating all that stuff for you with more of this information that you have versus, can you make me a plumbing website? And then that's it. So, yeah, keep this one in your log file. E-commerce, as I grow my e-commerce portfolio, clients and personal projects, this is becoming more and more interesting to me. Keyword research at the end of the day is keyword research, but what I have found is that trending products is a really big deal, and being able to pivot and kind of see some of that stuff in advance, i.e. if you're in the scented candles market in the spring, you're not going to do much, but in the summer, people are in their house, they're going to buy more. In the fall, in the winter, when it's colder out, people are going to buy more. And you know that, and then you know the popular scents, etc. You can do that, especially here. Again, discover seasonal microtrends. From my experience, every product has a season, and you can plan around those. So, for example, let's say you're doing Halloween. This is like the best time that if you have a Halloween costumes website to get started on ranking that and getting into positions and stuff, and get the branding locked in so that when people are ready to buy their Halloween costumes, middle of September, beginning September, all through October, you can get your sales and do your Halloween store and get that all knocked out. That's your Halloween project. By the time that starts making money, though, like in the September phase, you got to be already looking ahead at your Christmas project, right? And so think about all these things, and this is a good refresher on some basic keyword research, but then it's written from the perspective and some nuances of e-com that I think you will find interesting. AI overviews. This tool, supposedly, it's called MarketBrew, supposedly can help you figure out how to, or what is being, or why things are being picked. And essentially, the theory is that Google is using embeddings, probably from the Google bot, which is probably using embeddings to help determine what a page is about, and then essentially the AI overviews and Chat GBT, which is being pushed into Bing, are probably doing the same thing. That's the theory, and they're using embeddings to do that. There are a couple of tools out there right now that you can do this, but you can walk through here and get the instructions and kind of set it up in Python and just drop your text in there and see the embeddings. And you can compare those between a couple, the top ranking websites. So, or the top 10, depending on how much work you want to do. But you can try that with MarketBrew.ai as well, just to see what you're missing. If you stick with me, there's another tool that we'll be covering or showing off that does something similar to that. You don't necessarily need MarketBrew, but I mean, sometimes more tools are better, just to kind of bounce them off each other. So I haven't particularly checked out MarketBrew yet, but it does sound interesting. So we'll see how that goes. And finally, the news is this practical guide to building agents. This is a release from OpenAI directly, and some things, what is an agent, and some ideas on designing them, which models to pick, etc., and then how to code them and make sure that you're doing the right things and you're getting the most bang for your buck and it's actually doing what you want to do. And then some things to put in place so it doesn't run wild all over your stuff. Right? So this is a pretty interesting thing. I'll be printing this out as well. It's a nice guide, especially for those of us who are not building AI agents. I know people are ready. Oh, I built AI agents and make and you're really just building a process. And I would think that this guide kind of help you out. And if you're doing like my buddy does, he does all this stuff in Python, and he's got AI agents that he's using Python. It's going step by step through processes, and from start to finish, creating things, web pages, websites, etc., using AI, all in Python. To me, that's really an AI agent versus an NaN diagram or a make diagram. But we use the tools that we know how to use, right? So you do your thing, check out the guide and see if it helps you out. All right, let's get into questions. How to programmatically get crawled, not indexed URLs. What this guy's problem is he has tens of thousands of URLs and he's trying to use the Google API to get those indexed. It ain't fucking happening. And you're not going to use the URL submit tool to do that either. Not for tens of thousands of URLs. Frankly, as I've said before, and I'll say it again, if you're building pages, websites that are brand new with tens of thousands of URLs right out the bat, you're an idiot. At this point, you're just fucking, if you want to light your money on fire, I'll send you my PayPal and you can just send it to me and you'll be more satisfied, and so will I. Stop building pages like that. Couple hundred, maybe 400 is fine. You have 10 categories, you put 40 posts in each category, and then make sure your interlinking is on point. Make sure you get some backlinks primarily to the category pages that are linking to the blog pages primarily, but you want to get them preferably to all of them, but primarily to those category pages. And if your interlinking is on point and you got some good backlinks going to the category pages, then this shouldn't be an issue for you. The crawling will take care of itself. The indexing will take care of itself. You can submit those for way cheaper than you can to indexers and get in there a lot better. And you have so little that over a 4-day period, you can submit all of those to the Google URL inspect tool via API and be just fine. But you ain't doing that with tens of thousands of URLs, so stop fucking trying. Quick backlink audit tool. This is more of a reference in case you guys are looking for something to do something quick. I would say the quickest, if you have a small website, would be SEO Power Suite's website Auditor. Then next in speed would be Sitebulb, and then next after that is Screaming Frog. But that also depends on what you hook to it. Like I have my Screaming Frog is always hooked up to Google Analytics and always hooked up to Ahrefs and always hooked up to Search Console. So it's pulling more data when I crawl. In particular, client websites and my own, if I have access to those things. So Screaming Frog ultimately would be slower in there because Sitebulb I can only hook to Analytics and Search Console. Right, so that's why I would choose Website Auditor, Sitebulb, Screaming Frog in that order. If you're looking for something really basic where you hand some deliverables off, or you can use for prospecting, Website Auditor Enterprise Edition, hands down. You can print those PDFs out or and consolidate them into a nice little package and into a single PDF. Add that to your emails if you're doing that, or add that to your direct mailing if you're doing that for prospecting. And it's fast, and you can use those for backlinks too. You have that backlink site, right? We have the PDF sites. Where are the PDF distribution platforms? Find some more on of those, and drop your PDFs into those for your audits. It's totally acceptable use for that. And put a link to your website. This audit performed by Digital Leader SEO and Web Design, and have Digital Leader SEO and Web Design linked, or switch it up every once in a while and link directly to a URL using URL as the anchor text. So there's multi-uses for these tools. Don't think outside of the box rather than just this my auditing tool. And then finally, we have this one is how to rank a brand term, since it was a favorite movie. Again, this is another pro tard going after making hundreds of thousand pages, 400 index pages, and consider that's reasonable. And he's going after older sites that have way more. This is totally fine. Honestly, if you're going after a brand name, you only need one page, the home page, and then your about and contest and, the standard pages that is easy for the algorithm to look for. But if you're going after this, you only need a whole bunch of backlinks and a homepage, and you can take over that SERP. But if it's established, it's going to take you a lot of time, and then you have to balance. Is it really worth the money doing that? Or am I a dumbass for choosing this brand name that matches a movie name? That's kind of in your research too. So if you're fully capable of taking over a movie name and turning it into a brand name, if you can do it, then you're smart as hell. But if you can't do it, you don't have the budget to do it, then you're dumb for trying. So think about that when you're choosing your brand name. Even brand names are important. All right, let's get into tools. Here we go. First tool is WK, and this is from the folks over at Inlinks, Dixon Jones. They created this, him and his partners, and it's essentially kind of to see how your brand is doing in the AI tools, and to see what they perceive of you, what they think about you, and what they think you're missing in your topic. I think that's probably the most important thing here. It's not going to get you into it, but it's going to say, hey, like digitally or SEO, these are the things that we know about you, and these are the things that other people have that you're missing, right? And then the idea is, as illustrated here, is these things that you're missing, solution, doc, paid, create centers, you create content on your website to address those things. And the more of this that you have covered, the more likelihood, again, in theory, that you're going to be picked up and understood more in the LLMs. As those are growing, as those are learning, etc., this information may change. It may prove to be true. It may prove to be false. We just don't know enough about how those are working and where they're getting their data sets, for example. But this is, like, although the other stuff, better than nothing. So there's a cheap plan down here for $19 a month. You get 8 reports. I would probably stick to those. $70 isn't really that bad either for 30 reports. If you're go and get a report, you do the work and you have 30 clients or 15 clients, you go get a report, add the content, and then run another report again after you're adding content to make sure that it's picking it up. I guess in theory, that's how you can pull that off. Or you can sell these reports to other people too. Something to think about. Maybe I'll do that, get the 71 and just sell reports. But since I'm only limited to 30, but we'll see. Cool idea, frankly. I like Dixon. I like the Inlinks product. So, but I would really wish there was more actionable. Like, this is for sure how you use this information. But on the flip side of that, this is another. You could potentially create another deliverable for your clients if you're a client base, or if you're a small business owner, you can create some understanding in regards to this for topic generation. So this could be, in theory, the new topic map. In theory. The next one is local Dominator. Those folks created this Auditor tool, and I'm sure plenty of you have seen that. You can get 2,000 credits included free for a limited time. You get an action plan or whatever, but it's short. Fill out your name, your information, give it your CID, get a target keyword, and then give it some competitors, and it'll spit out a PDF for you. I want to get back into local Dominator and sign in for an account, but I want to know more about this. So what I'm going to do is have Eldar, I'm going to get with him. We'll record an episode of him walking through this and, what you get and potential use cases and et cetera. And then maybe as a bonus in that same recording or a separate recording, he's got a method for using ads, Google Messenger ads, to lock in his leads so he gets them really fresh. There's a little bit of automation, like if there's a weekend, they'll send a message, hey, this is a weekend, just sending you this to let you know that I got this, and I'll respond to you on Monday, that kind of thing. And it keeps the leads actually warm versus losing them in your ads because you couldn't respond right away, right? Otherwise, you would just answer them as they come in. So he's going to talk to us about that and teach us kind of a little bit of how to pull that off. So stay tuned for those. But in the meantime, check out this. Go fill this out and fire it off and see if it's useful to you. If you end up getting lead Dominator, let him know that I sent you. Maybe I'll get lucky and he'll send me some Starbucks money. Tools, the tools are also in the description. They'll be below the actual blogs. So you'll be able to see those down further in the descriptions. So I hope you find all these stories useful because some cool ideas. I hope you implement at least something. The 17 backlinks post, that by far was probably the best backlinks roll-up post that I've seen in quite some time. There's new stuff in there. It's not the same old regurgitated crap. So check those out, get some ideas off of them, add some more sites to your list, and let that grow. And with that, I hope you have a great week. Thank you for watching SEO This Week. Be sure to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.